We built these markets for decades and now they're gone. As these words echo across America's farmlands, China is orchestrating the biggest agricultural power shift in modern history. But here's the twist. The trade war everyone's talking about? That's just the smokescreen for something far more strategic. The truth behind this shift isn't what you expect, and it affects your food security more than you realize. Once the world's largest buyer of American agricultural products, China has drastically cut its imports, leaving U.S. farmers in a precarious position. The $164 billion U.S. farming industry, built on decades of trade relationships, now faces a stark reality. Key buyers like China are pivoting, and competitors like Brazil and Argentina are ready to fill the gap. The shift began subtly with trade tensions under the Trump administration, but as tariffs escalated, so did China's strategy. In 2016, soybeans accounted for a whopping 40% of China's total imports from the United States. By 2024, that figure had plummeted to just 18%. Behind this drop lies a deliberate and calculated approach by China to reduce its dependence on U.S. imports, one that caught many in Washington and rural America off guard. This wasn't just a reaction to U.S. tariffs on $370 billion worth of Chinese goods. Beijing retaliated strategically, targeting key American exports like soybeans, corn, and beef, with tariffs of up to 25%. These weren't random acts of economic warfare. They were part of a broader plan to secure China's agricultural future while weakening America's dominance in the sector. For U.S. farmers, the fallout has been devastating. Futures for soybeans, once America's golden crop, have fallen to four-year lows. Equipment sales have stagnated, rural banks report higher loan defaults, and the ripple effects on rural communities have been profound. The once stable relationship between U.S. agriculture and Chinese markets is now a battleground of uncertainty, with no clear resolution in sight. China's pivot away from U.S. agricultural imports wasn't a knee-jerk reaction. It was a meticulously planned strategy spanning years, designed to reduce reliance on foreign suppliers and achieve self-sufficiency. While tariffs sparked the initial shift, Beijing's broader goals are deeply rooted in national security and economic resilience. One of China's first moves was to expand its import partnerships. By 2022, China had opened its markets to wheat and barley from all regions of Russia, the world's largest wheat exporter. This decision marked a major step toward reducing reliance on U.S. suppliers. Brazil and Argentina also benefited, with both nations ramping up their soybean and corn exports to meet China's demand. Brazil's share of China's soybean imports surged from 46% in 2016 to 76% in 2024, solidifying its position as a dominant player in global agriculture. China's focus wasn't just on imports, it also aimed to increase its domestic production capabilities. The introduction of genetically modified corn and soybean trials in 2021 signaled a bold shift toward embracing agricultural innovation. By passing a soil conservation law in 2022, China sought to combat decades of overuse and degradation, ensuring that key agricultural provinces could sustain higher yields. In parallel, Beijing passed its first food security law in 2024, which mandates absolute self-sufficiency in staple grains and holds provincial governments accountable for safeguarding farmland. This law reinforced the urgency of feeding the nation without external dependencies, a cornerstone of China's broader strategy. China also tackled its dependence on soybeans, a critical U.S. export. In 2023, it rolled out a plan to lower soy meal ratios in animal feed from 14.5% to less than 13.3% by 2025. Pilot projects introduced alternative protein sources such as microbial proteins and food waste, further reducing reliance on imported soybeans. Beyond policy changes, China poured billions into agricultural infrastructure. It modernized ports, expanded railway lines, and invested in domestic agricultural research, ensuring that the shift from U.S. imports didn't disrupt its own supply chains. China's agricultural strategy wasn't just about crops, it was about power. By reducing its dependence on U.S. agriculture, China insulated itself from potential leverage in trade disputes or geopolitical conflicts. President Xi Jinping captured this sentiment in a 2022 address, declaring, "If we can't hold our own rice bowls, we will be controlled by others." This calculated and multifaceted approach underscores China's determination to secure its food supply, strengthen its economy, and redefine its role in global trade. China's pivot toward agricultural self-sufficiency and diversified trade partners has sent shockwaves through the U.S. farming industry. Once a cornerstone of the American economy, agriculture is now facing an unprecedented crisis, with ripple effects felt across rural communities, equipment manufacturers, and local economies. The numbers are staggering. U.S. corn exports to China plummeted by 71% through September 2023, while soybean exports fell by an eye-watering 133%. What was once a $43 billion agricultural trade relationship with China in 2016 has dwindled to just $34 billion in 2024. For an industry that depends heavily on exports, these losses have been catastrophic. For farmers, the decline in exports means lower prices and shrinking profits. Soybean futures have dropped to 4-year lows, and corn prices have similarly declined. This downturn has squeezed rural economies, leading to reduced equipment purchases and stalled infrastructure projects. Mark Tuttle, a soybean farmer from northern Illinois, captured the sentiment of many, stating, "We are very concerned. We're not the only soybean producer in the world. If we institute more tariffs, it would be very detrimental to our situation." The reduction in demand has also led to a decrease in cultivated acreage. Projections suggest a loss of 1.3 to 2.2 million acres in U.S. soybean production, leaving fields fallow and reducing the need for labor and equipment. This contraction ripples through rural communities, affecting transportation services, local businesses, and even schools that rely on agricultural revenues. Companies like Deere & Company, a leading manufacturer of farm equipment, have reported declining demand for tractors and combines. Grain storage facilities, once bustling with activity, now operate below capacity. Meanwhile, rural banks are grappling with increased loan defaults, straining their ability to support farmers through tough times. The losses aren't just economic, they're strategic. As U.S. farmers struggle, competitors like Brazil and Argentina are rapidly expanding their production capacity, aided by investments in ports, railways, and modernized infrastructure. This shift underscores the growing dominance of South America in global agriculture and the waning influence of the U.S. The once reliable relationship between American agriculture and Chinese markets is now a casualty of shifting geopolitics, leaving the U.S. scrambling to adapt to an uncertain future. As U.S. farmers face dwindling exports and financial strain, the big winners in this agricultural shakeup are Brazil and Argentina. These South American powerhouses have seized the opportunity to fill the gap left by America's diminishing role in China's supply chain, solidifying their status as global agricultural leaders. Brazil has emerged as the primary beneficiary of China's pivot. Once sharing the market with U.S. farmers, Brazil has now captured 76% of China's soybean imports, up from 46% in 2016. Beyond soybeans, Brazil has also overtaken the U.S. as China's top corn supplier, leveraging its vast arable land and favorable climate to increase production. This growth hasn't happened by chance. Brazil has invested billions in modernizing its agricultural infrastructure, including expanding railway networks and building new ports to facilitate exports. These developments have allowed Brazilian farmers to deliver crops faster and more efficiently, gaining a competitive edge in the global market. While Brazil takes center stage, Argentina has also benefited from China's agricultural realignment. As China diversifies its imports, Argentina has ramped up its soybean and corn production, attracting investments to modernize its farming practices and expand export capacity. China's growing trade relationship with Argentina has also provided a much-needed economic lifeline to the nation, which has struggled with inflation and debt crises. By becoming one of China's key agricultural partners, Argentina has gained a foothold in one of the world's largest markets. The rise of Brazil and Argentina is a testament to their strategic foresight. Both nations have prioritized agricultural development, recognizing the economic and geopolitical opportunities presented by China's shifting trade policies. From advanced storage facilities to cutting-edge farming technologies, South America is not just competing, it's redefining the standards for global agriculture. The success of Brazil and Argentina has far-reaching implications. As they dominate China's agricultural imports, they've effectively reduced U.S. farmers' ability to reclaim lost market share. Moreover, their increasing influence in global agriculture positions South America as a key player in trade negotiations and geopolitics, challenging America's long-held dominance. In this reshaped landscape, the balance of power in agriculture has decisively shifted southward, leaving U.S. farmers grappling with the harsh reality of a market that may never fully return. China's calculated move to reduce reliance on U.S. agricultural imports is more than an economic strategy. It's a geopolitical maneuver with global ramifications. By diversifying its trade partnerships and boosting domestic production, China has gained leverage in its complex relationship with the United States and strengthened its position in international diplomacy. China's focus on self-sufficiency in agriculture stems from a simple yet profound principle. Control over food supply equals control over national security. President Xi Jinping's declaration, "If we can't hold our own rice bowls, we will be controlled by others," encapsulates this philosophy. By reducing dependency on U.S. crops, China ensures it won't be vulnerable to economic pressure in times of trade disputes or geopolitical conflicts. The U.S. sought to use agriculture as a bargaining chip during the trade war, imposing tariffs on Chinese goods and expecting Beijing to cave under economic pressure. Instead, China responded with precision, targeting American farmers, one of Trump's core voter bases, while simultaneously securing alternative suppliers. This tit-for-tat escalation has left the U.S. with fewer options to exert influence over China, highlighting a critical shift in the balance of power. The agricultural trade deficit projected for 2025, a record $42.5 billion, underscores the long-term consequences of this geopolitical chess match. China's deepening ties with South America are not just about soybeans and corn. They reflect a broader strategy to foster alliances with nations willing to align with Beijing's economic and diplomatic goals. By investing in South American agricultural infrastructure, China is not only securing its food supply, but also cementing its influence in a region historically dominated by U.S. interests. The ripple effects of this agricultural pivot extend beyond U.S.-China relations. Other nations are watching closely, recognizing the strategic value of food security in a volatile global landscape. As China strengthens its agricultural independence, it sets a precedent for other countries to follow, potentially reshaping global trade patterns and alliances. For the United States, the lesson is clear. Food is no longer just an economic commodity, it's a geopolitical tool. The decline in agricultural exports to China has not only weakened rural America, but also diminished U.S. influence on the world stage. As the U.S. grapples with this new reality, the question remains, can it adapt to this shifting landscape, or will it continue to lose ground to nations that have mastered the art of agricultural strategy? The U.S.-China trade war may have started as a battle over tariffs, but its fallout has revealed a much deeper story, one that reshapes the global agricultural landscape and redefines the balance of economic power. What began as a dispute over soybeans has evolved into a strategic realignment with lasting consequences for farmers, nations, and global trade dynamics. For decades, U.S. agriculture thrived on its dominant position as a global supplier, but China's pivot has exposed the vulnerabilities in that system. The shrinking agricultural landscape in America isn't just about lost revenue, it's about the erosion of a once unshakable economic pillar. Rural communities face dwindling opportunities, with farmers struggling to adapt to the new reality. The projected $42.5 billion agricultural trade deficit for 2025 serves as a stark reminder of the challenges ahead. If the U.S. hopes to regain its footing, it must rethink its strategy, one that goes beyond trade wars and focuses on innovation, diversification, and global competitiveness. While America grapples with its setbacks, Brazil and Argentina are capitalizing on the opportunity to reshape global agriculture. Their rise isn't just a win for South America, it's a testament to the importance of infrastructure, strategic investments, and adaptability. As China strengthens its ties with these nations, the U.S. faces the daunting task of reclaiming lost ground in a rapidly changing market. China's agricultural pivot is a lesson in long-term thinking. By prioritizing food security, diversifying trade partnerships, and boosting domestic production, it has not only insulated itself from external pressures, but also redefined its role in the global economy. For Beijing, this is more than an economic victory, it's a geopolitical triumph that underscores its growing influence on the world stage. The global agricultural landscape is shifting, with new power players emerging and traditional leaders struggling to keep pace. For the U.S., this is a moment of reckoning, an opportunity to adapt or risk falling further behind. The challenges are significant, but so are the stakes. In this new agricultural order, food isn't just a commodity, it's a weapon, a bargaining chip, and a symbol of national strength. The question is whether the U.S. can learn from its missteps and rise to the challenge, or whether it will remain a cautionary tale in a world where the rules of the game are rapidly changing. Thank you for tuning in. If you found this content insightful or inspiring, please show your support by liking this video and subscribing to stay updated with our latest releases. Your engagement means the world to us. And hey, why stop here? Check out another video from our channel, just a click away on your screen.